has the right to enjoy freedom and independence and has really become a free and independent country. The entire Vietnamese people are determined to mobilize all physical and mental strength to sacrifice their lives and property in order to safeguard their liberty and independence. So that was my before last day in Saigon or Ho Chi Minh City, whichever you want to call it. I found that like most people call it Saigon, but then like on maps and stuff, it's all Ho Chi Minh City. So I realized I didn't really talk about the experience of going to the War Remnants Museum, and I kind of wanted to let it sit a bit before I did, because it was really intense. It was a really crazy kind of experience for me where, like, you know, I had been educated more or less on kind of what happened, but, you know, it was really vague, and, like, you know, you hear people talking about Agent Orange and dioxin and stuff, and, like, the effects that it had, and that it was horrible and all this stuff, but seeing it here in the way that they presented it was, I mean, it's speechless. It was really hard to see, but also really eye-opening on the capacity of, you know, human beings for kind of just like ignoring or othering people to the point that they can do like absolutely horrible things to other people. And there was one thing in there that like struck me pretty hard, and I feel like this is kind of a good way to put how these kinds of things happen, and how we can like learn from them and have them never happen again, because like people here are still suffering because of it. Like dioxin poisoning from Agent Orange and other biochemical weapons that they used here are generational. Like there's third generations right now that are suffering with, you know, birth defects and disease and, you know, a bunch of miscarriages and all this stuff just because their parents or their great grandparents were exposed to it. Or there's still places that are really contaminated with it. Like there's even just in the last couple of years, they found like some rivers and things where people are eating the fish out of the rivers, and it's so toxic that it's affecting them as like a first generation, which is just crazy. Like it how has this not been addressed? How is this not something that, like, since the United States made this happen to these people, why aren't, and like I get this is controversial, but like I'm sorry, these companies and this government that made this happen and did this to these people should fucking like take responsibility for it and help people out. And like there are resources for them here and stuff, but like not enough, you know? And it makes me so angry that like things have not, that this is even like, people don't really know like the horrors. And it's not even just the dioxin and the poisoning of the people here with the like with the biochemical weapons. It's also just like what they made, like what the soldiers went through and what they did to these people, like torture and like killing and like, you know, children and women and pregnant women and like everyone. It didn't matter who they were. if they were suspected of being of the opposite side, then that's it. Like, like it's really affecting me, and it's really eye-opening on like just the terrible things that have happened in this world, and it just makes me sad. Like, I wish there was so much more that I could do, and I'm only here till tomorrow, but like I feel like at least spreading some awareness is something. It's not much, but it's something. But like, there's still stuff like, you know, thousands of undefused bombs and mines in this country that like people are still dying from. And it's such a beautiful place, and like, that doesn't matter, like, but the people are just so nice and like, so inviting and stuff like that. And I feel terrible sometimes, like being like a traveler that's white, and like, yeah, they didn't really give us much of a good reputation, let's say. And like, this is all for colonial bullshit and like capitalism. Like, that's the reason the start of this war is because the US was like, well, we're gonna lose out because Vietnam declared independence against the French colonizers that were here. And the US was like, yeah, no, we can't do that because we need the like tungsten and something else, some like natural resources. So they were like, yeah, no, it's not gonna happen. So we're gonna put a puppet government in place and like fund them and give them a fuck ton of weapons and stuff, and like come in and help them take over or whatever. And they utterly failed. Like, in the end, they failed, but they still like wreaked so much fucking damage and everything. I'm sorry I'm swearing so much. It's just like, I can't help it with this kind of thing. And like, I did film some stuff in the museum, but I left out the worst stuff. Like, there was really, I mean, there was barrels hold. I'm sure there was way worse pictures that they could have put up. But like, some of them were incredibly disturbing. And you know what? Like, I'm glad I saw them, because like, someone needs to talk about it. But yeah, anyways, that saying I was talking about coming back, it was something along the lines, like, I'm not quoting directly here, it was like 10% of people are tend absolutely towards peace and compassion and like positivity, and 10% of people tend absolutely towards negativity and like war and violence, and it's the 80% in between that are swayed either way that make or break from something from happening. Which, I mean, yeah, I mean, think of anything, like, and even then, like, that 10% of people that like are absolutely tended towards violence and like shit think that they're doing absolutely right, think that what they're doing is totally fine. And like, this all really comes down to how easily you can other people. And like, if you don't know what that means, it's basically like a sociological tactic that's been used to excuse a lot of horrible behavior towards other human beings. So basically, it's like dehumanizing or belittling another group of people to get your way. So like, patriarchy depends on women being considered less than men. Slavery depended on people seeing, people of other races, especially black people, as less than them, or even as inhuman, where like they were basically like animals, and like that's what permits people to like be okay with this shit. And it's the same thing with like rich people and poor people. Like, poor people are lazy because, they could do what I'm doing. Like, shit like that, right? That's othering people and making it so that it's okay to treat them like less, which means that eventually it's okay to like fuck them up and it doesn't matter. And it just makes it so like, even just patriotism is a huge way to other people. Like, I get, like, to a certain extent, being part of your culture and your ethnicity and stuff like that, that's cool, but being proud of your country and just where you happen to be born is just another way to, like, pit people against each other, really, in the end. You know, we're all earthlings, we're all people from the same fucking planet, from the same species. No one's better than anyone else. Just because of these, like, arbitrary things. Like, you know, sex and gender representation and skin color and, you know, anything. Well, ethnicity is another one. But yeah, so that's kind of super heavy. And I'm like 10 minutes in. Maybe I should I think I'll just put this as a separate video about the War Remnants Museum. And, like, there was a few points where I had to stop and, like, sit down for a bit because it was just, like, heavy stuff, man. It's intense. I took a nap afterwards. And, like, you know, that's what it did to me, and I didn't live through it. I just had to, like, witness. I just had to be a witness, and that was hard. So, like, I can only imagine the, like, strength and tenacity of these people that kept going through this war when all this shit was happening because of what they believed in, because they wanted their freedom. They wanted the freedom to live and have, you know, authority over their own lives. But anyways, I think it's an absolutely awesome place to go if you can handle it. Just as a warning, though, it's very explicit, it's very horrifying, it's very, like, direct. Like, you're gonna see shit that you can't unsee. But I think that if you can handle it, it's extremely important to see it. And I'm sure you can find places online to see these things. I'll link some below if I find them. But it's crazy to see how low humanity can go. And I really hope, and I'm still hopeful, that it's not a place that we'll go back to. But I mean, like, it's probably still happening. Who knows? Like, this shit we only find this out after it happened, you know? So, yeah. I don't know what else to say. And even, like, you know, what the whole point of this video is, I guess, is to just, like, talk about it and, like, share. So, I mean, Vietnam is an absolutely amazing place and you should definitely come. But, like, if you're in Ho Chi Minh City or, like, Saigon, then definitely go to the War Remnants Museum. You really won't regret it. And you get to see a part of history that wasn't the prettiest, but, you know, it really, it's good to know the drastic points at which we can go, because, I mean, if we're not aware of it and we don't think it's going to happen again, man, it can in a second. And, like, that's up to the people now, you know, that's up to everyone to make sure that this shit does not happen again. But yeah, I mean, I guess that'll be my closing thought. Thank you for watching. The next video is going to be a lot more positive. But I hope you're having a great day. I hope you enjoyed the video. Please like and subscribe for more content, and I will see you guys in the next video.